Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. I wanted to switch it up today. As you may recall, if you've been following my podcast so far, the very first episode was just me chatting, shooting the breeze, as they say, or I don't know, whatever they say. But I was basically originally planning on just kind of doing the podcast like that, and if I occasionally had guests, then great. But I've had a lot of luck actually lately with getting guests on the show. And as I always say, if you're listening to this and you would like to be featured on here, just get in touch. I would love to promote your work, to have a chat with you, and also people are welcome to come back on the show as well. So it's not all just about that initial interview. I also like to kind of bring people back and have them either announce new projects or even just share stories. There really are no limits or restrictions with this podcast. It's very much a kind of work in progress, so to speak. But I'm open to anything, just as I am in life. It's the same with the podcast. And speaking of kind of being open to different mediums and different things in life, kind of brings me to my topic today, which is understanding Twitch and streaming, I suppose in general. But I take Twitch as the example because I think that's kind of the main, streaming provider that's out there that most people use. There was Mixer, but they've unfortunately folded now, so that's the end of that chapter. And to be honest, I always kind of hear people laugh when you mention things like Facebook gaming, but there does seem to be an increasing audience there. So while it might not be taken seriously by everyone, it certainly does seem like it's sort of increasing in terms of notoriety and like what people are willing to use moving forward, But other options, you've got YouTube streaming as well, but obviously YouTube is more well known for having, your standard kind of original content video uploads and, obviously gaming videos, more so clips and stuff like that. And then you got your podcast and God knows what else. I don't need to run you through everything that's on YouTube, but you get what I'm trying to say. Typically, when you think streaming, you think of Twitch for the most part. And I began using Twitch back in March time. It was actually a recommendation from a friend of mine, Mr. Aaron Wise, aka Trial by Fire. Good friend of mine. Go check him out if you haven't. He's currently working a lot on games development stuff, so he occasionally drops a video on his YouTube channel every now and again. And I'm a particular fan of when he drops the videos about like indie games. Because I think that's his best stuff, and that's really quite fun to watch. Just watching like these games that these indie developers have come up with that don't necessarily have like a big budget or whatever, but they have big ideas, and that's all it really takes. If you've got a good idea, it don't matter necessarily if you haven't got the right equipment. People will still be on board with what you're doing. So anyway, he kind of suggested to me to do it in March. And to give you a bit of backstory, I just moved up to Manchester around that time. I'd been frantically running around trying to find a place to live. I found a place, and it was literally the beginning of March. And then obviously COVID-19 took over the world. It's somewhat weirdly coincidental, to be honest, but it all kind of happened. It is what it is. It is what it is. But, you take the good with the bad. And I decided to just work my ass off on the YouTube, which I was already doing. And, just try out other things. I tried out TikTok for a little bit. Eventually just deleted it. Because it's just not my thing. And there was also other places that I tried out, just in terms of just making content, that weren't as good, similar to TikTok, but they just weren't there. So I just figured I might as well put maximum effort into my YouTube. I'd already decided to do that last year, and I've been pushing it hard ever since. But since I've kind of come into lockdown, it's kind of gone into overgear, overdrive, so to speak. Because I got all of this time, and so help me God, I'm not going to sit here and do nothing. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna do something with this time and do something constructive. I mean, if I wasn't doing YouTube, I'd be, learning some skills, doing some other stuff. And I will do those things. I will find time for those things. But lately, I've just been doing a lot of grinding, trying to kind of churn out content and kind of just figure out, what I'm best at, what I enjoy, what I don't enjoy so much, Like, I really am enjoying this podcasting right now. I really enjoy having the guests on my show. Like, I go through the same process every time of doing research on them, kind of chatting to them beforehand just to kind of, clue them up as to my style and such. And it's fun because every single podcast interview is completely different. Like, you don't know what to expect, and that just keeps it exciting. That keeps it fresh. But moving away from that, back to streaming, which is our topic today. I kind of started that, just on the suggestion of my friend, and I really didn't know what to expect. And the interesting thing about streaming is that it's totally different from YouTube, obviously, but your approach has to be different as well. There's some people that say that, you should be streaming every single day, and I don't know that that's necessarily the right thing to do. I spoke about this with Jack Hatcher, aka Calamity Hatcher, in our podcast together, and he made a lot of good points about this, and I tend to agree. I think that my personal opinion is that less is more. And if you have like certain streams, let's say you do like 3 streams a week, you have like your, I don't know, Saturday, Sunday, and maybe like a Tuesday or something, right? And those are the only days that you stream. And on those days, you do sizable streams. Maybe you do 2 hours, 3 hours, maybe you even do 1 hour. But the point is, you have those times every week that people look forward to, and that's it. You don't go overboard. Because I feel like if you do too much, it's like people just don't care. And I have this problem with my YouTube. I upload a lot, and it's one of the reasons why I created a second channel. But I just feel like I should get the ideas out there while I have them. If I have an idea, I'm gonna make a video about it. I'm not gonna sit on it. I'm gonna make it. Because there might be a time when I have the proverbial kind of writer's block in terms of making video content, and everyone has that. Everyone gets to a point where they don't always have ideas, or they can't find stuff that they're willing to do. Because just because there's ideas out there doesn't mean that it's right for your channel or right for your stream. Do you know what I mean? Like, there might be people streaming a particular game that's really popular, and everyone around you is like, oh, you need to stream this because you're gonna get loads of people in your stream. And it's like, well, yeah, but what if I don't want to play that? And then the bigger, wider sort of conversation with streaming is that it's heavily oversaturated, just like YouTube. So if you are playing a particular game, you've got so much competition. So how do you draw people in? Like, what do you do? What is the thing that brings them in? Is it your character? Is it your gameplay? Is it something to do with your style, your setup, the visuals or whatever? Or, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's like, you're approaching it as like a game secret style stream where you're, showing people how to, nail a game, or you're doing speed running. There's all these different ways of approaching it, right? And you find out over time, you work on your craft just like you would with YouTube. Like for me, I've kind of found that I favor playing retro games just because I don't have access to newer games, and I also kind of like retro gaming as well. It's fun. It is what it is. I make the best of what I have, and I actually kind of enjoy playing retro games because these were games that I played when I was a kid and a teenager, and it's fun to go back. It's nostalgic. There's lots of positives, more so than the negatives. And yeah, maybe not everyone's going to be interested in like some old Pokemon game from 20 years ago or something, but I'm interested in it, and it's my stream, so I'm going to do it. And I think that's kind of key. If you enjoy what you're doing, be it YouTube or Twitch or whatever, then people are going to be engaged in you. And so when it came to kind of developing my stream over the months, initially I was just trying to stream anything. I had no idea how to approach it. So I was just like, at first I was just sitting there, loading up the title with like, oh look, I do this, 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 and this, and this. Ask me questions. And sometimes I still do, but, you know, I know that now that sometimes people will come. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in the beginning, I just had no idea what to expect. And those streams sometimes would bring in a couple of people here and there, mainly just curiosity or people trolling. But ultimately, they didn't really kind of bring anything in substantial. You know, I didn't really gain any followers or any like meaningful viewers. And I only really started to gain, you know, followers and interest in what I was doing when I actually came in with an idea. So like I would start a stream and go, okay, today I'm going to react to, like, I don't know, TLC videos, or today I'm going to react to like Dragon's Den videos or something like that. So I was just doing reactions in the beginning, but at least I had an idea. I had like something I could use that people might be interested in. You know, it is a bit of a leap. That doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to be interested in it. And I mean, I guess it does ultimately depend on the reactions as well. You know, I never fake my reactions. They're always genuine. And if I'm bored, then you're going to see that written all over my face. But, you know, I kind of enjoy it more when there's people there. People, you know, to react to the content with. You know, if I'm just on my own, I can do it, but it's not as enjoyable. I feel like it's something to be shared. And that's kind of a cool part of Twitch, I think, is this element of sharing. You know, that's what kind of differentiates it from YouTube. Because on YouTube, you upload the video, you know, people reply to you in comments and make a discussion with you there, or maybe on Twitter or Discord or wherever you talk to your fans or followers, right? But they don't really have a way of talking to you in real time, you know. And that's how kind of Twitch is vastly different, because people can drop in every time and they have access to you. And you could be the biggest Twitch streamer ever, and, you know, obviously through things like donations, you know, you can get their attention and you know, that they will talk to you or acknowledge you, right? But when you've got smaller streamers such as myself, you know, I'm oh, whoopsie daisy, I'm talking to everyone. You know, I'm commenting to everyone. Every time someone drops in, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Hey, don't leave, please. So, I mean, you know, it's a work in progress, like I said before. But I think that the best idea is to kind of research ideas. You know, that's what I started doing. Kind of find like your niche. If it's gaming, okay, let's look at all the different games you can play and different ways that you can play them. And you can kind of prepare people for that. So like, okay, Sunday is going to be speedrunning day. And then, I don't know, Tuesday is going to be, you know, I don't know, kill streak day. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm saying. But you get what I'm trying to say. It's that kind of thing of like, you know, you have like a particular way of branding or marketing that particular stream, and then you make that a regular thing. So to give you some examples of what I've been trying and I've been having like mixed results with, here we go. I can't really find a way to segue into that, so I'm just going to like abruptly change. But you know, I've done some music streams where I react to like musicians that are in my kind of hemisphere. So not known musicians, just unsigned musicians, and I react to their content, and it's kind of a cool little thing. You know, it gives them a bit of exposure, and you know, it gets me a chance to, you know, promote them, to check out some new music. You know, it's a win-win-win-win-win. You know, ultimately. And you know, I'm not gonna lie. You know, my streams are very hit and miss. So like sometimes I might get like 3 or 4 people in the stream. Sometimes I get no one. You know, I do a lot of streams where I play like classic card games, like the Russian card game called Durak, or Hearts, or 21, or something like that. Or, you know, I do like my retro Pokemon games, like Pokemon Classic and stuff. And, you know, you get like vague interest here and there. And I do think the time of day that you do it is important as well. You know, I would generally say it's, on Twitch at least, it's worth trying to do it when there's just more people actively streaming. I've noticed. I don't know why that's the case, because, you know, they're all streaming, so they're not really going to drop into your stream unless they're willing to host you, I suppose. But I've just noticed that, you know, if there's like 370,000 people in, let's say, the just chatting category, then that's the time to stream. Whereas if there's only like 120, then maybe don't bother. That's just what I've noticed. I've also sometimes noticed though that like I'm better off because I'm in the UK, right? So if I do a midday stream, it's like sometimes I get some viewers, sometimes I don't. What the hell was that? Oh, I do apologise. Sometimes I get some viewers, sometimes I don't. If I do it right at the end of the day, we're talking like 11, 12 p.m. So this would be like, at least for the West Coast of America, it would be like either morning or midday for them, and opportune moment to reach out to the US audience, right? But you know, I kind of sacrifice my own, you know, well-being because I'm tired and trying to entertain people when I really should be going to bed. But you know, it's a sacrifice you've got to make if you want to kind of reach that American audience and reach different demographics and such. And I guess what I'm really trying to allude to with this is it's just a case of experimentation, I think, with Twitch and streaming. And you know, I've been umming and ahhing about whether or not I will actually continue with Twitch streaming. I really, like, on one hand, I kind of feel like it's a good thing because, you know, it's giving you access to a different audience. And I guess originally I was like, you know, if I can kind of get these people interested in me, maybe they'll be interested in what I do on YouTube, and maybe they're likely to come and, you know, subscribe and check out my content. You know, there was a logic to it. And then I kind of thought, well, hey, you know, maybe I can build some sort of a following here, and, you know, this can be another outlet for me to create content, to reach people, to hone my craft, and yeah, you know, to maybe make some money someday. But you know, that feels very far off. I mean, I'm closer with YouTube to getting partnership than I am with Twitch. Like with Twitch, I've been stuck on the final requirement to become a Twitch affiliate. So I've got everything else. I've had every single other requirement since I probably got it in the first month, to be honest, in like April time. But it's the average that always stickles me. And I was talking to a couple of streamers the other day. A friend of mine called Steelsy, who regularly streams. He's from Germany. He's a really good dude. And we were chatting with him and an American streamer who his name was Vinny, but I don't know what his Twitch name was. But anyway, we were talking about this subject, and you know, I was kind of talking about the fact that, you know, I'm interested in maybe just moving away from this, and, you know, I don't know whether it's worth me continuing. And they were kind of pushing this idea that, you know, it is different audiences first and foremost, and you do have to really work hard at it, like, for a long time. And like, here's me sitting there complaining like, oh, I never get anyone coming to my streams, oh, this sucks. And then, you know, they're just basically like, yeah, you know, that was me, yeah, I was there. And one of them was like, yeah, I'm still there sometimes and I've been doing this a lot longer. And I was like, huh. And like, that's the kind of brutal thing about Twitch. But the bigger thing is that they don't, and this is another thing that we got into like quite heavily, which was the main point I wanted to make, is that on Twitch they don't really push you, they don't really like recommend you. You know, there's no algorithm like there is on YouTube. There's no kind of way of like, you know, showcasing you when you're just starting out. Like, it's all well and good, you know, being an up-and-coming YouTuber and getting eventually recommended and stuff. And it takes a lot longer still. But, you know, for me, it's taken a very long time just to get to the point where YouTube is considering suggesting my videos and stuff. Probably at least, probably about a year, to be honest, if I'm really brutally honest. And even now, it's pretty inconsistent in terms of when they do and when they don't. Yeah, there's a lot of content that I drop that just gets lost in the void, in the shuffle, and just doesn't get viewed. But whatever. But with Twitch, you'd think there would be something. I mean, because again, we were talking about this, and I was saying there are different metrics you can measure by. You can measure by how long someone stays in your stream, or, you know, before they leave. How many people on average, which is already a measurement, a way to measure this. And then there's other things, you know, like maybe the fact that you get like a big following in a particular area, or internationally speaking, or I don't know. There's ways they could do this, and I think it's fair as well to try and push up and coming streamers, because you got more people you can work with. They only seem to push and make deals with the top end streamers who've been working at it for many years. And I do understand, it's the same with YouTube to an extent. You are going to make the deals with the biggest YouTubers because they have the biggest following and the biggest reach. That makes perfect sense. But at least with YouTube, they're trying to push people as well, and trying to bolster people up and get people to that top tier eventually, because anyone can. If you've got good enough content, you're consistent enough, you don't give up, you keep trying, you keep evolving, you keep learning, and you're marketable, then why not? Why shouldn't they, try to promote you, try to, work with you? And I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to say with Twitch and streaming in general is that it's incredibly unrewarding in many ways. I think, to be consistent with it and to keep pushing it is tough, because it just doesn't kind of give you those more immediate rewards that you would get with like YouTube and such. And like, this isn't, don't get me wrong, this isn't meant to be like YouTube is better than Twitch kind of thing, because there's some kind of unique things you can do on Twitch that are different to YouTube and such, and there's some pretty cool features about Twitch, and it's a pretty established brand. It's been around for a pretty long time now. But I just feel like if it carries on the way it is, it's eventually going to die out. They need to evolve. Like, YouTube has always evolved. Like, they've never been like perfect, and they piss a lot of people off, they do a lot of things wrong, but they do always evolve and change things and develop good things as well. Like, it's not all terrible, so I don't see why Twitch shouldn't be doing the same thing. They're getting more and more people streaming now. I mean, especially during quarantine, like, let's be honest, like, it's like, if you're gaming right now, why wouldn't you be streaming? It's just worth it. Even if you don't talk, you just literally just film your gameplay and upload it afterwards, and then that's the extent of your I don't know, your YouTube or Twitch career. Like, that might be enough to get you somewhere. You know what I mean? Who knows? But and I guess that's kind of more the point of what I've been doing with Twitch as well. It's just trying different things, trying these Ask Me Anythings where I encourage people to ask me questions about my life or anything. Or I tried something pretty recently, which was give me a topic and I'll give you a story. And the idea being, if people give me like a random topic of any kind, I will give them a story from my life. And I had a bit of success with that. It was quite unique, and I was able to make some Twitch clips with that as well. And that's another thing as well, is when you're trying to build up your Twitch or like a long form thing like a podcast or something, you need those clips as well, because you need to be able to present little snippets. And that's something I haven't quite done with the podcast yet. I guess I want to kind of see how the podcast does first, and then maybe I'll look into the clips. I don't know. I'll probably do it when there's like a stagnating point and like people aren't watching for or whatever, or like I can't find guests or something, and I suddenly have more time. Because right now I'm kind of inundated with guests, which is fantastic. I'm not complaining. Okay, I want guests, but I'm just saying that it's like when you're busy, that's all you're doing. And it's funny because I transitioned from basically almost streaming like every single day at one point with Twitch to dropping down to not streaming at all for about a month. And then I returned and I was kind of doing it like 3 or 4 days a week. And then I cut down to like twice a week. And now I kind of just do it as and when I feel like it. Because I've uploaded so many streams now, both to Twitch and to YouTube. And they just get no views at all. Nothing, And that can be a tough pill to swallow sometimes, and it makes me wonder, like, what's the point? At least with YouTube, there is some sort of reward, and I'm not just saying that I only focus on the numbers, but like, okay, look at it like this, right? If I get like just one viewer and we share, a stream together and we have fun, right? That's an experience. That's fun. If you're just sitting there on your own, playing a game, and you happen to be streaming, I mean, what's the point of even streaming? You might as well just not be streaming and just play the game. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you're with someone, that makes the stream worth it. And like, to me, it doesn't matter if there's one person or 6 people. That makes it worthwhile, and that's what makes Twitch streaming worthwhile, and why I do still kind of return to it, even if I don't sort of stick it out for the entire time, and I don't do it often and such. I am kind of hoping that every time there will be one of those good days, where there are people and we have a good time together. Because I can show you streams where we have had a good time. But yeah, I just think in general, Twitch and streaming is just gonna evolve and change as with everything else. And there's some people that say that it'll run its course and maybe we'll just go on to some new medium and form it. But I think Twitch streaming is gonna, and streaming in general, is gonna stick around. But I think it's just gonna change. I think there's gonna be a point where people don't want to kind of sit there and watch people playing games anymore. And I actually think that, like, what I'm doing right now, these kind of talking style podcasts, or these talking style podcasts. What am I talking about? These I guess more podcast style Twitch streams, or like, people kind of trying these different forms of like games and Q&As and stuff like that, more like real life content, if you know what I mean. Instead of just like sitting there watching someone playing a game, you're interacting with a person. That's more what I want to get to. Sometimes when I'm trying to get to a bigger point and I mince my words and it gets like this, I get so panicky. And especially because, this is a podcast right now. I'm trying to be professional. I'm trying to do this properly. I don't want it to be something that you're just sitting there at home listening to and going, what the hell is this guy talking about? He's just talking out of his arse. Yeah. I want it to be interesting, insightful, a bit of fun, but like, not something that you sit there and listen to and just think like, oh, why doesn't this guy just shut up? I never want that, but I digress. No, but with Twitch, I'm very much, I would say, a beginner. Like I said, I've been doing it since March time, and I'm always learning and always trying different things. I'm not sure if it's something that I'll always do. I know people that have done it in the past, major YouTubers who choose not to do it anymore. And I can see why they feel that way. Like for me, like I said before, I'm kind of experimenting and trying lots of different things. I think the podcast is here to stay for a long time, to be honest. I'm very proud of what we've done so far. And what I've done so far. No, because the guests have made this show. And I really enjoy those ones. Actually, more so than these particular podcasts. And I'm not trying to shit on this or say that it's bad or something. It's just that it is kind of more fun to sit there and chat to someone and learn about them and such, rather than just sit and try to ramble for half an hour about seemingly nothing. I mean, I often feel this way when I'm doing my vlogs, to be honest. And this is the same approach that I'm taking. The only difference is that I don't have to worry about what I look like, so that's a big bonus. I could just say whatever and be sitting here in my pants. I'm not sitting here in my pants, but I'm just saying I could be, and it would be fine, and you wouldn't know. And yeah, so you can be cursed with that mental image, and I'll continue. But no, Twitch and streaming. I don't know if I'm ever gonna try a different type of platform. I mean, my friend Aaron did introduce me to this one called D Live, and I went on there one time, and I don't know, I didn't see anything really I liked. And now that like Mixer's gone, I don't really see there being any major competition coming up, other than either Facebook Gaming or YouTube. I feel like if YouTube put a big campaign behind their streaming and really pushed it and tried to rival Twitch in that regard, then I think they'd probably win. I think that's number one. And secondly, I think more people will be on board with it, to be honest. But then again, Twitch has its own community as well. That's the thing. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I keep trying to stream there as well, because it's like I want to kind of tap into that market as well, because I know that it's different. Like, not everyone that uses Twitch uses YouTube, and vice versa. So in that sense, it is two different kind of I was going to say industries then, but that's not right. Two different communities entirely. You're appealing to different people, people with different interests, ages, demographics, whatever. And for that reason, you got to approach them both differently, and that's kind of the underlying point, I guess, behind this whole podcast today is this thing of I had to approach Twitch differently from how I approach YouTube. And I think, if you do both, I'm sure you can, agree with this. Like, for instance, if you're doing gaming, chances are your clips will perform pretty well on YouTube, because YouTube videos tend to be pretty short for the most part. Obviously you get these longer average videos that are like 10 minutes or so on, but you get smaller ones than that are like 5 minutes or 3 minutes or something like that. And all those are going to be way more favorable than a 40-50 minute video or an hour video of a stream. And that's why I don't get too upset if my streams don't get views on my second channel, because it's a full stream. It's like an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, so I don't expect someone to sit there and watch all of that. But I know that there are people that do, and it's interesting. Like, you might not want to sit there through an entire stream, but you might sit and watch an entire Let's Play series, which could even be longer, and it's episodic. It's like when people say like, oh, I wouldn't sit there and watch a 3-hour movie, but then they'll watch 8 hours worth of a TV show binged as well. It's weird. We're a weird species, aren't we? The way we do things. But anyway, on that note, yeah, I'm gonna draw it to a close for today's podcast. I hope you liked this little podcast on Twitch and streaming in general, and please let me know what other topics you'd like me to talk about as well, because I'm open to taking topics as well as kind of just talking about whatever ideas I come up with. I'm sure I will keep coming up with ideas, but if you can help me out, I'd be very grateful. You know what I mean? No, look, I hope you're enjoying the podcast as much as I am creating it. It's been a blast so far, and thanks so much to all the guests that have appeared on it so far. I hope everyone that's listening on Spotify, and now I believe Apple Podcasts and a few others. I know that through my provider we are kind of reaching a lot of new different platforms. So to all the platforms that you're hearing me on, hello! I hope it's good. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope I'm not annoying. And yeah, that's it for another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. And until next time, I bid you adieu.